Hey guys, hey UI, hey Lucas. Really glad to have both of you guys here.
Hi, Kevin. Glad to be here.
Hi, Calvin.
Yeah, so I'm actually super excited. I think Origami is one of the most interesting projects I think we've had a chance to have in our launchpad in quite some time. For those of you that are not super familiar, Origami is our actually first project that we are launching in the Aurora ecosystem. Aurora is an EVM based chain ecosystem built within the Near ecosystem. We're quite excited about the greater Near ecosystem as a whole. I'm sure that the Origami team will be able to share even more cool stuff, during this interview. We just wanted to kind of get kind of into things kind of relatively quick right away. I think that every team is obviously quite ambitious in what they're kind of out to set out to, but I think you guys stood out in particular. So maybe if you guys can share a little bit more about kind of the vision and goals of being, a cornerstone lending protocol within the Aurora ecosystem.
Sure. Before we jump into the vision goals, perhaps just a few sentences to explain what Origami is. So Origami is a decentralized, non-custodial native money market on Aurora. And currently we offer deposit and collateralized lending services. At this moment, we are supporting 8 of the largest asset on Aurora, and we are one of the top 3 projects by TVL on Aurora. So in terms of vision, what our aspiration is actually to become the foundation of a thriving DeFi ecosystem by being the leading liquidity aggregator on Aurora. So that means two things, right? Firstly, from the end user perspective, what we want to do is to be able to offer a seamless experience for users to supply liquidity and also interact with the Aurora ecosystem. And also, secondly, for developers and protocol builders, what we want to do is to enable enable Origami as a key building block for those that wants to integrate and also access the liquidity that we have captured.
Yeah, I think that's super clear on my side. I love the name, by the way. As a kid, I used to always fold, all of these like cranes and like pinwheels and all this stuff. So I thought it was a pretty creative name, and I think it's a very good analogy. I think for what we need in the DeFi space, because I think one of the most interesting things with origami is Japanese like paper folding origami is that there's no paper that's wasted. Every piece, you don't need to make an extra cut. It's very thoughtful in the way that you fold things. And I think today in DeFi, there's a lot of stuff that, quite honestly, is a little bit wasteful in the way that pools are incentivized and rewards are kind of put in, to pools just to blindly create really high APYs. I think that a lot of the ethos that we want to see inside DeFi and Web3 stuff is really the concept of money Legos, right? Stuff that can be built directly on top of each other. And I think that is, the Japanese sense of origami as well, just not making any waste as you try to assemble something beautiful out of a simple sheet of paper. So yeah, I think with that, I guess you guys see origami as a key driver of liquidity as well to the Aurora ecosystem, as well as be almost like a one-stop gateway for a lot of users to interact with this chain ecosystem for the first time. Could you share a little bit more about how you guys kind of plan to do this? And I guess this also ties to some of your existing traction that you've already been able to bring in terms of TVL into the Aurora ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. So as a native money market on Aurora, our success is tied directly to the vibrancy of the Aurora ecosystem. So Aurora currently has about 1 billion TVL. It's 10x the number 5 months ago, which is pretty impressive. And we believe that creating a seamless onboarding experience for new users will unlock the next 10x growth for the entire ecosystem. This is where we see we can play a positive role by including the most essential features for the first-time users. So, for example, by integrating in-app bridge and gas faucets in our website and make it convenient for users to bridge their assets over to Aurora. And once users have bridged their assets over, then it's our job to entice them, to encourage them to stay with Origami by offering them innovative feature and products.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really wish I had gas faucets and a seamless experience when I moved to other chains as well. I think that's a great step in kind of reducing the frictions of entering new chains and ecosystems. I think that's a really smart way to really smooth out that UX as people enter a new chain. With that, I think you guys have not only been innovative in this angle, but also with a lot of the tokenomics. I know in the chats we've talked quite a bit. So I don't know how much we are able to share publicly yet at this current time, but I think based on what you guys are comfortable to share, I think I would say that everything that you guys have been doing has been probably the neatest I've seen in terms of token design. So without further ado, I'd love for you guys to just share a little bit more about what tokenomics stuff you would like to share at this time.
Yeah, for sure. And really appreciate your good words. So from very early on, the team is very conscious that getting the tokenomics design right is critical to ensuring a sustainable project. So our tokenomics is designed in a way that liquidity minus interest are aligned with protocol's long-term success. So this is to encourage positive behavior and create incentives that prioritize long-term growth. So we also recognize that attracting liquidity in the early stage is important. Therefore, our tokenomics design rewards early participants generously while ensuring deploy our governance token, the circulation supply of our governance token increase gradually. So this is achieved by a progressive locking mechanism that incentivizes delayed gratification.
Yeah, I think this is probably a topic that I will end up talking for hours about. So unfortunately, I don't think I can talk too much about this on the call. But I think that there were so many teams that had great products, but unfortunately didn't have a very long-term sustainable economics. And I do think that this model may be the model. I think recently everyone talks about VE models and other models like this. I have a feeling don't quote me on this, but maybe I'll put a 100 BNB or sorry, 100 IDIA bet that maybe this will be the most copied tokenomics that we'll see for the rest of 2022. Someone will write this somewhere, I'm sure. But yeah, so I guess one of the next things that I kind of want to touch on, because I think you already going back to the UX point that you made earlier. You guys mentioned that obviously Aurora is a very interesting ecosystem. With some pretty solid adoption metrics so far. It has a strong bridge ecosystem as well. So we'd love to hear what other reasons kind of drove you to focus on building in the Aurora ecosystem.
Yeah, so I think the first thing to take note of Aurora is the technical uniqueness of the ecosystem, right? So essentially, it's a smart contract layer that's on top of Near. So what that means for protocol builders like us is that we get a dual benefit, right? So we get to enjoy the faster settlement that's on Near, and at the same time have access to all the EVM toolings. So that's pretty powerful. The second attraction that brought us to the ecosystem is because it's quite apparent early on that Aurora had very serious backers, right? Blue chip investors that are willing to put in serious capital to help to grow the ecosystem. And just over this year, right, Near has increased or raised 500 million capital, led by Three Arrows Capital and also Tiger Global. And that just shows how much traction or how much commitment that these investors have for Near and for Aurora. And we feel that this will then create, this kind of capital injection will then create the kind of self-enforcing virtuous cycle whereby there will be a trickle-down effect to the protocol builders through incentives. And what that will then do is to encourage and to attract more of the developers to come on board and to build more innovative products, and hence creating that kind of positive ecosystem or vibrant ecosystem that we are all hoping to look forward to. So again, I think just now we've mentioned, right? So over the past 5 months, if you look at the TVL of Aurora, it has increased 10 times. When we just started building in November, it was around 100 million TVL. Right now, we are looking at close to 1 billion TVL. So, and we are quite confident, and of course, we are hopeful that this trajectory continue, and we are quite glad that we are a part of it.
Yeah, I love the answer. I think for us, we're pretty excited as well. Like we said, Aurigami is our first launchpad that we have conducted inside the Aurora ecosystem, and hopefully we'll be able to do even more in this ecosystem. I think in diving deeper into some of the kind of product itself, I think you guys have mentioned some stuff about AU tokens or O tokens. I don't know how you pronounce this. First time reading it out loud. But I guess, coming from looking at things like Compound and Aave, I guess it's a very similar concept of some of these types of deposit receipt tokens that can be helpful in giving users custody of a representation of their deposits in the platform. But would love to hear more about some more details on these tokens and how these may differ as well from any of the existing kind of structures out there.
Yeah, for sure. You are exactly right. AU tokens are similar to the C tokens of the Compound protocol. It's a representation of your balance supplied to Origami. With AU tokens, users can first earn interest through AU tokens exchange rate, which increases in value relative to the underlying asset. And number two, gain the ability to use AU tokens as collateral. So we are also looking to have AU tokens integrated into other protocols as well. For example, the stable swap of AU USDC and the AU USDT.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's a great use case. And we do plan to have our swap available as a stable swap on multiple chains as well. So I think this could be another room for us to collaborate on as well. I'm pretty excited overall. But I think we still have one more question from the community that I did want to ask you guys. What can users expect next from Origami? I think this space as a whole moves so quickly, and I think there's a lot of things to tackle, and sometimes it's hard to kind of focus on next steps. You guys are probably one of the strongest teams we've seen in this space, and we wanted to understand, what are the next focuses for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. So we have an exciting few months ahead as we start to roll out features on our product roadmap. In the short term, we are focusing on creating utilities for our governance token, such as LP staking. Also, our liquidity mining incentives will continue remain attractive to continue attracting liquidities and reward our early supporters. As we speak, we are actually launching a 2.5 million worth of boosted rewards on April 22nd. So it's a great time to bridge your assets to Aurora and deposit to Origami and earn these juicy rewards. In the medium to long term, we will kickstart our innovation zone, which is an isolated market for listing long tail assets, and then also introduce more innovative features such as fixed rate lending. We will also actively build out our developer community and encourage more protocols to build on top of us and access our liquidity.
Amazing. Yeah. I think that's all the questions that we have for you guys today. I think we'll definitely try to get some extra questions for you guys next time if we have any other neat questions from the community. And I think that the community is really excited to get staking on invest.impossible.finance to be able to earn some upcoming allocation in our Origami sale. So without further ado, definitely get your assets bridged over to Origami to start earning some of this juicy yields already on Aurora. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for the launchpad as well, definitely do feel free to read more of the docs that the team has been able to share on all of their social medias. We'll be able to share all of these links alongside this video soon. So as always, thanks EY and Lucas for all of the great questions that you guys have helped us answer, and looking forward to doing this launch with you guys. Thanks.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Cheers.